Forged with a passion for steel and an iron-like eye for talent. This is the Recruiter of Steel podcast. Blast right in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Recruiter of Steel podcast. We are rejoined by our first ever returning guest, Mr. Chris Shipp, the Chief himself. Welcome back, Chief.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you back. So this time things are a little bit different, right? The market's different. Your role is different in particular, right? Last time when we were talking, we were working with Rebus at the time and doing some great things with them. And now you've joined ThyssenKrupp in their trading division, right, for steel buy. And one of the interesting things that I've noticed that you've done is you've brought back some returning guests on your end, right? Some valuable team members that worked with you at your previous organization. You said, all right, if I'm going to do this thing, you're coming with me. So tell me about that process. Tell me about that change. You know, you're very tenured in your career here, very respected individual in our industry. Tell me about that decision to join Steel Buy, why you did it, and why you brought those few folks back with you.
Sure. Yeah. We talked previously. Look, I went to Rebus because I believed in what technology can do for our industry. I fell in love with the product and the concept in the marketplace, and so kind of fast forward. I took about 6 months off from Rebus. And I got a call from Thyssen, someone I've known in the industry a long time. I've done a lot of business with over the years, and first brought it up, say, hey, we want to bring our marketplace that we had in the UK and Europe, which coincidentally I competed against them running Rebus, the European sales side. So, but my first answer was no. I don't want to do this again. And then, I spent some time on the tractor, kind of just doing some work around the place, and thought, you know what, I believe in this, right? And so, maybe backed by someone from our industry may be a little different. And so we had some more conversations, and I decided to come on board and continue working in something I'm very passionate about, which is a metals marketplace in the U.S. So, and I started working with their engineers. Again, Thyssen's a very large global company. They build submarines in Germany. They do all kind of things, right? And so big presence in the U.S. with a number of business units. And I decided to come on board, started working. Again, their product was built for the U.K. and Europe. We're in a phase of a soft launch now. We're actually probably going to full launch next month. And so, again, the little things like grades are different in steel and between the U.S. and the kind of not counting, dollars or pounds or euros. And again, there's a lot to do to get something ready for a different market, and so that's what I'm working on. It's right at 6 months with Thyssen. And then I started, look at people started reaching out to me and say, hey, I'm looking for this metal, or, hey, I know you don't have yours online yet. Can you help me? And so really we started beginning of the year, started transacting, kind of doing, helping people, again, solve problems in the supply chain the old fashioned way without technology, which is, I have to admit, has been pretty painful to go backwards once you've been in an industry with, a company like Rebus and with the technology that was there. And so we started doing that. And then I started getting way too busy and trying to deal with engineers, but also trying to, again, help people who have a need that used us at Rebus. And so we were kind of off the races. I contacted a couple of my folks at Rebus and two folks that have worked hard for me. One of them has been with me a couple companies. So, the beauty for me is they already know what we're doing. They already know the challenges. They already know the naysayers, and they already have experienced a lot of what over a few years at Rebus, what that meant, right? And so, I was blessed that they wanted to follow me once again and undertake something that was, is a challenge in this industry and implementing technology. And so, I think the beauty of it is I learned a lot. Thyssen learned a lot, and when they had their marketplace in Europe and the UK, and so we bringing all that together. And we're going to do some things a little differently, right? And so I think the biggest piece is this industry, though everyone's used to, using this thing all the time, in their personal life, using in businesses and other things. And so we're going to do some things a little differently this time. But yes, I'm blessed to have some folks come run beside me again. All right.
There you go. That's exciting stuff. So, a lot to unpack there, Chief. So, number one, joining a much different organization in a similar type of function. Um, what is that transition like, right? Going from Rebus, which had a global presence but was on the smaller side, more of a startup, right? And then going to Thyssen, which is globally big company, multiple different countries. You're dealing with teams all over in India and London, and you're coordinating with different time zones constantly, probably, and then doing that with a company that, maybe this segment, the steel buy segment, is more of a startup within a larger organization, but you're part of a much larger company, right? What's that transition been like for you?
Yeah, honestly, the experience I gained, at Rebus really prepared me for even this, right? We had uh when I went back to Rebus as president of the company, you had operations overseas.
Mm.
You dealt with people that may be in different time zones regularly, and so that was kind of preparing me for a lot. I think it's really getting a strong cadence, right? This is how you're going to interact with your teams and win, and then you got to give some too, right? I mean, they're in a time zone. Just because who I am and the position I'm in doesn't mean a whole lot in regards to
Sure.
someone's personal time may be impacted, and so
Yeah.
you got to give. And that's the part of the servant leadership, right? Is to really evolve and to live uh, in your aspect of your work life, that's minimal impact to everyone and what's best for the team, which
Yeah.
full well how I feel about the team concept, right? And so
Yes.
that's it. I think it helped prepare me for that. Look, I'm a military guy. I think deploying and doing things, working 36, 48 hours on missions or plus, and was something that, again, it's not new to me, but it is. I know I have to be very cognizant of other people's time,
Sure.
and but yeah, it's been fun. It's been a definitely a challenge, uh, to say the least,
Yeah.
and but we I go back to we learned a lot. I learned a lot. There's things I wouldn't do again. There's things that I don't want steel by to, and how it's viewed and how we operate.
Hmm.
And but look, I amazing time. Met some amazing folks at Rebus. Believe in the concept tremendously. Completely was blessed to get an opportunity to even go there, and I'm very appreciative of those that did that and allowed me to continue to grow and learn. Um, and again, this is a next iteration evolution for our industry. I'm still using Rebus Logistics
Sure.
for my marketplace. So again, I'm very great a group of folks there that I've had a pleasure working with, and so we're actually using them still.
Great.
But yeah, that's a testament to the team. The team there, as
Sure.
their evolution continues to evolve and what they're doing, and it says a lot to the products they built and developed while I was there and continue to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome.
Great. Great. Well, one thing that I find really interesting is that you had some leadership at Rebus when you were president there of the metal sales division. You had several reps that you were working with. And then they came with you, right, to something that was totally different. They might have even been working at the time. So, my question to you as a recruiter, right, I have to ask this one is, what the heck did you do to make them follow you into something totally new, right? Into something totally different. What
Well,
That's a
yeah.
testament
Well,
to your leadership there.
no, I have to say it was um, number one. I helped place them right when Rebus Marketplace shut down. I helped place a number of folks. It was very important to me that people that trusted me and came on board with me or were already on board or whatever the case
Yeah,
I help them find jobs, right?
that's great.
I've been blessed in my life, and I spent my first 30 days focused significantly on that. So
That's
yeah, it
great.
was a little challenging because where do you find metals folks in this industry, in the metals industry, right? And so you're going to upset some, at the end of the day, it's business, right? And so so I did both these folks, I was involved in some of the placement of them, and now I'm hiring them away, right? And it is a challenge. I think the biggest piece is number one, they got a taste of technology and how it can help this industry, help themselves individually and help this industry. And once you get that taste, it's hard to go backwards. It's hard to, a lot of these companies in this industry are operating on either DOS base or any, different systems that are just archaic, right? And
Yeah,
so that's, you've got to uh, that's something once you get that taste, it's hard to go backwards. And I think the it's really for them, it was an easy uh, decision, I guess. And but look, for me, I think the biggest thing we've talked about it significantly is you take care of your people, right? You work hard for them. Uh, People want to work for people who are um, do that. And again, not that they get everything they want, not to get it, but again, it's just you're there for them, and you're going to work hard for them, and that you know running beside you is having ownership. I think that's critical for folks to get on board. Look, these are my relief, right? These are folks that I'm training my relief, and I'm always
sure.
that's important for me. And these are the future leaders, and it's on us as leaders to prepare the way for those that come behind us, and people who feel that they have opportunities that you're not only they're going to work hard for me, I'm going to work hard for them. People want to be a part of that, and
I agree.
so yeah, I think that's the key. It's um, they want to be as part of something where they feel like they can contribute and have ownership in the process. And I'm keeping still by small right now. Look, I've got me and two other folks, and I'm
Mhm.
not going to add that this year. And so we're going to run talk about doing things differently, right? I'm going to we're going to break even this year one,
Okay.
and then grow from there. And I'm going to run a P&L, and we're going to run it as a business. It's another business unit within Thyssen in the U.S., and
Yeah,
that's important to me. That is the one thing that was a challenge for me of when you can invest for money, and you, people try a lot of different stuff, and when a lot of it doesn't work, that's a problem, right? And so we're going to stay small and grow from there.
okay. Lean and mean. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Chief, I mean, it is a testament to your leadership that people would come back and rejoin you, right? And go into something that is more of a startup, right? Something new, build it from
Yep.
scratch, right? Not many leaders can bring folks from the past to do that and just follow them, right? With a lot of
Mhm.
trust. The industry is changing, right? There's a lot of technology coming into play. AI is exploding. There's definitely more eyeballs on it now than there ever has been. Even though our industry typically is slower to adopt to technologies, that this year I am starting to see even some of the naysayers and some of the skeptics start to take a second look. So in 2026, tell me where the steel industry is, and then going off of that, tell me what leaders need to be doing to equip themselves and their teams for where we're going as an industry.
Yeah, no, I think, this industry, for the most part, is way behind the power curve with the technological aspect and a number of other industries. And it's the little things. And you don't have to look, this whole mantra of it's going to replace people and all that stuff. That's hogwash.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us be more efficient.
Completely agree.
I can take a list of coils, let's just say, there's 120 different coils in this list and all different kinds of grades and specs, and you can take that, already have a template built, and run that through AI, puts it in your template automatically. You can upload it quickly. It just saves time, right? I think the efficiency piece. So, it's a lot to digest, but you got to start small. Where
Sure.
are your little bitty small bottlenecks that you can start eliminating? Because your people have to deal with them day in and day out. And so if you can make their work life more efficient, we're majority of the folks are doing is way more than one person, right? I guess I would kind of couch it that aspect.
Mhm.
The ones that are working hard, the ones that are, it seems like the harder you work, the more gets piled on you, right? And that's the way it goes. And so, using technology and using AI to be able to help that in the small things. Um, look, it's funny, I use it every day. I use it in many different aspects, but it's amazing what it can do to save you time, whether it's you're going after a key market. I want to build a playbook on the market. I'm building steel buy and knows what steel buy is because it's been doing a lot of things in it, and then
Mhm.
it's helping me do something and think a little bit differently,
Sure.
and that just helps me in my job. I work hard on all the efficient stuff, sending stuff to automatically put it in your calendars and all this stuff. Whereas I'm small. There's we don't have any administrative help. My team, we do everything, and so it's the little stuff. I'm not sure why everybody's it's so scared of it. You're seeing the bigger players starting to invest in it,
Mhm.
um, but it's the little things that can really help. Look, my wife's a supply chain manager, trailer company here in East Texas, uses it all the time.
Mm.
You can take it whether you got tons of bid packages on stuff and just really help, bring it to light of consolidating all the data, providing its recommendation. You still got to pull the trigger and make your own decisions,
Sure.
but it saves a ton of time. And that's the focus. That's where you start small and what are those bottlenecks and evolve. And that's why, you've mentioned about with CloudForge and you're going to be having a discussion with Ben, great product I developed on the
Ben, you're up
CRM
next.
side.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. On the CRM side, I wish I had that when I was, standing up a service center, building a service center, and yeah, it's not. And this is a thing, right? People talk to me, oh, it's it stinks that Rebus didn't make it, yada yada, and you probably feel like you failed. I said, no, I don't feel like a failure at all. We made tremendous strides, and look, we had Rebus heading the right direction, and things just didn't work out. At the end of the day, it takes money to do things, and but I feel great about it because we made an impact in the industry, and look, others are falling behind. It's not just going to be steel by, right? There's others,
Mm.
and there's a reason for that, right? Is because there's opportunity to help an industry evolve and be more efficient. And so this is not going to slow down, and it's going to keep generating traction. That's why people put money in it. That's why ThyssenKrupp has decided to bring theirs to the U.S. They didn't just, they think these things out, right? There's opportunity and there's things you can do to penetrate a market. Thyssen has their own business units in the U.S. I'm building this to be firewalled separate, so there's no conflict of interest. Um, Tyson's going to be using steel buy and not know who I'm selling to. It's the way we have it set up, so we can again, keep that. No competitive advantage happens to my own another business unit, my own company, but
Mhm.
I'm providing value to them just like I am everybody else, right? And so they're seeing that. And interestingly enough, in the U.S., Thyssen didn't participate with Rebus. So you
Mm.
can see how the evolution happens, right? And
Okay.
now, and all of a sudden, we're standing up a business unit in the U.S. to do exactly, similar, I would say, to what Rebus was doing.
Sure. Interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Where do you, because I mean, you have, you know, a great experience throughout the industry in multiple different roles, lately more on the technology piece. Where do you think we're headed, right? And I want to harp on a specific point that you said that it's hogwash that we're going to be all replaced, right? And I agree with you. I think this is very much a human industry. Not to get too much off topic, but I saw an interview the other day. I believe it was the CEO of Salesforce saying that they've downsized a number of positions, particularly coders, but they've actually increased their sales headcount by 20% in recent months. So why would that be? Because sales is not something that we're going to completely automate, right? It still takes a handshake.
Yeah.
It still takes a human to human conversation. So I think that
Right.
part is here to stay, but I want to hear from you. Where do you think we're headed?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think, look, the human interaction is not going to go away. People want to talk to people. People want to do business. They can reach out to people, want to do business with people they trust.
Yes.
Machines don't bring them, right? And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's again, it goes back to the aspects that makes things so much more efficient. And so I've got, I'll give you a prime example. I've got someone looking for metal today. I've got access to 24,000 tons right now, and I'm using my technology in a way that it'd be difficult to use something manually.
Mm.
And I can instantaneously, yeah, I've got this, here's what it can cost or be. And whereas it would take a lot to do that, manually.
Sure.
And look, and I've been living in that world these last few months because our technology hadn't been ready.
Mm.
And we got one more evolution to go. We're using it some now internally, and but I've had to live that world. It's painful.
Mm.
The time it takes is significant, and you don't know how much you miss something until you don't have it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want it back quickly. And I think this industry will continue to um, uh, the younger generation is going to influence change. We saw it at Rebus. We continue to see in this industry, they're going to push for what they know. They're going to be the ones that are going to have the leg up. I think as they grow within their companies or within the industry, because they're going to continue to try to figure out how to use technology in a way that makes their job more efficient
Sure.
and faster, which at the end of the day uh, affects the bottom line of any company.
Mm.
And those are the folks who are going to continue to rise, and there'll be a generational shift, which we all know they've got a decent delta of who's running a lot of the companies and major parts of whether it's sales organizations, procurement organizations. Those folks coming behind them, had a little gap, but they catch up a lot faster. Look, one of the ladies I brought over from Rebus, her first stint in the metals industry was at Rebus. She
Wow.
started off in our logistics piece, and she went over into metal and she learned it, but technology helped that evolution
Sure.
become a lot smaller, right, and quicker. And she was one of my best salespeople that I had, and
That's
I'm
great.
blessed to have her on board. And she's a true testament to how things can speed up quickly within this industry using technology. And but it's still going to be a people person business, and that's okay. I talk to people every day. It's just a part of the business, and enjoy doing that. But yeah, I think this industry, the top five CEO told me a few years ago within the service center side, um, if I don't get on board with technology, I'm going to lose market share. I agree. And I think that evolution continues to evolve. You're starting to see more of look at the top 10 service centers. You got a group that's investing heavily and you got a group that isn't.
Yeah.
And so I could, you look in your crystal ball and look to the future a couple of years, and uh, I could probably tell you who's going to gain more market share and who's going to lose. And it is an investment, especially when you get that large. And it's not like, I got a 3-4 person team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have someone internally helping as well. And but it's different to implement new technology when you're that small than it is when you've got 50 plus locations. So
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
challenge. Tison's doing it in Europe and right now, and we're next year we'll be evolving a new CRM in the US. It just happens to be Steel Buy is actually built on its own CRM, which is awesome.
Mm.
Something new for
Okay.
me.
Cool.
Spits out everything automatically. Technology, automated
There you
purchase
go.
orders, automated sales order acknowledgments, automated shipping documents. So, yeah, those things are again. It's just to be more efficient, and I think
Yeah,
this industry will. I think you're going to see the folks who embrace it. Are going to be much better off than the ones who don't.
I think so too. I think you're right. We talked a little bit before, Chief, about kind of the next generation, and specifically remote, right? Managing
Yeah.
remote teams. Um, with technology, I'm even seeing it now with being a recruiter, right? You'll work with some service centers, and then you'll ask, all right, what's your sales CRM? Oh, what's that? Oh, we're doing a sheet and paper. We're doing Excel still, but we want to bring somebody on. How do they know who not to call? How do they know what territory is which, right? You don't, because nothing's organized. And a lot of the times, if you're looking to recruit a hungry young rep or somebody that is very meticulous in what they do, they want that technology piece there because they want to make sure that they have the tools to be successful. You could put the best race car driver in the world, but if you put them in a golf cart, they're not going to win the Indy 500 because you need the tools and the bells and whistles in the car to move.
Sure.
And it's the same thing with your organization, right? You need to build a strong vehicle for that driver, the salesperson, to drive and finish the race. So my point being is that, advice for leaders out there, right, that are trying to recruit the next generation, but also lead them and manage them in a way like you have, where you're able to bring them wherever you go, and they do trust you, and that you're enabling their ability, giving them the tools to succeed. What is your words of advice, or your tips on recruiting and leading the next generation in this industry?
Yeah, it's I've had my share of challenges with it. Coming from the military,
Mm-hmm.
deploying, we had the latest, greatest technology in everything we did, but we deployed together as teams, right? And so, but I've had my challenges, over the years, with with a remote workforce, number one, and because it's really easy to, whether you're using Teams or whatever you're using to communicate something like with your folks outside of normal meetings or Zoom meetings or Teams meetings, whatever. You see their icons go, they're online and they're offline, and then it's very challenging to uh, you know, for example, I was probably offline about 30 minutes this morning, walking around on the phone, talking to someone I'm close with in this industry, working on a couple deals. I'm not sitting at the computer, and it may not say I'm online, right? It's those things that it's number one, you you have to trust your folks until they prove you otherwise, right? And so you have
Sure.
to assume trust, because it'd be easy to look at something and say, "Oh man, they're not working," or "Oh, they're not doing," and then so it is from a managerial or leader standpoint. It's um, and that can be hard. It can. Now I've had ones that I didn't follow my gut, and they really weren't working, right, and then end up letting them go, and and trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then at the end of the day, couldn't get them to do something different. They typically are the ones that struggle, right? That maybe toward the bottom of the sales leaderboard or whatever, however you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got to trust your folks, but you got to have the look. I don't like having meetings, but I like having small meetings, and
Yes.
so fairly often. And so we're remote, right? We keep in touch. I'm sitting here in my place here in Texas, and I've got the one person in Atlanta, Georgia. I actually have another one about 30 minutes west of here,
Mm-hmm.
in Mount Pleasant, and one's in Chicago. So my admin supports in north of Atlanta, and and I got engineers and you know in India, and so it's yeah, it is a challenge, but you've got to be able to figure out for yourself what makes you feel good from the aspect of they're working, right? And
Yeah.
then sometimes you can do the little things of smaller meetings, accountability, and as a group is always a good thing too.
Sure.
A lot of folks like to do it in one-on-one, and uh, there's a time and place for that. But look, most folks don't like being called out, in a group setting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that. To me, it's okay having some stern leadership too. So
Yeah.
and that helps some of the accountability. But yeah, it's a challenge, but it's not going to, again, like technology, right? It's not going to go away. There's going to people get it. You have to be able to figure out, but you also have to look this work-life balance thing. I'm kind of, I'm really not a fan of that. I want to say concept,
Mm-hmm.
because this is not an approval to go do a bunch of stuff throughout the day And, well, I did work 6 or 7 hours a day. No, I mean, I'm salary folks. I mean, I'm expecting minimum 40, right? I am. And so, but that's one thing I think that has gotten a little carried away potentially is really is, these folks can plan their personal life throughout the day of their work life. And to me, that's not what work-life balance is about.
Yeah.
And oh no, I can't have a meeting then because I got this and I can't have to do this. And no, it's this is your work day. And I mean, is it, yeah, I'm not saying you can't throw a load of laundry in the washing machine, right? But not taking off for 2 hours because you scheduled something to do something with your friends during your work day when we got a lot of stuff going on. That
Right.
is a struggle, and you've got to be stern sometimes, and most folks adapt.
Hmm. Yeah. I think culture always stems from the top down, right? And that's why it's a question of leadership, because the energy and the drive and the mission focus of the leader is usually going to trickle down to the subordinates, right? Now, in some cases, there's some that just aren't on board and you can't get them on board. And those are the ones that are going to have to go. But oftentimes, what I see is if I'm working with, let's say, a company and, maybe the leader is a little bit checked out, right? They're not really working, they're in the business, they come check in, they're not investing in new tools and technologies. They're looking to hire, but they're not trying to like really hone in and grow a business. They're just trying to fill a seat. Um, that's usually spreads throughout the organization, right? Versus if you have a leader
Yep.
that's, no, here's what we want to do. This is our goal. We want to accomplish it by X. I need XYZ to get there. I'm doing my part doing this, but I need somebody else to supplement me and be headfirst on that mission. Then it's a whole different vibe, right? So I think
It
whether
is.
you're
Yeah.
remote or you're in office, you have to be mission focused. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to recruiting and just leading folks, right? Have a mission that people can get behind, that everybody is behind, and that a leader is keeping that as the focus. Because, you could throw money at people all day, but if there's no why behind it's not going to really translate. So I don't know if you've noticed something similar in your days, but
Yeah, yeah. No, actually, I completely agree. Look, it's one of the enjoyable things for me right now is look, I've kind of went full circle, right? I'm still in a leadership position, but
mhm,
I don't have the responsibility as a lot of what I've had,
as yeah,
here the past quite a few years, right?
yeah.
I'm slinging metal every day with my folks. Like I always call it getting in the weeds a little. Well, I'm way in
Mhm,
the weeds with them. I got a small team. We
mhm,
still want to generate revenue as we're trying to get this marketplace completely ready. We've already had some folks look at it, test some things, help us out. People I trust in the industry, give me some ideas. Am I way off base? Am I not? But at the end of the day, that's what's fun for me. Like I'm slinging metal right now, and I haven't done that in a while. And it's enjoyable, but it goes back to, I'm leading from the front. It's we have bills to pay, right? I have my own profit line, and I have my own business unit. And look, we've got bills to pay. I'm employed. I got a few other employees. I got to pay for engineers and stuff, and so I got a marketplace isn't ready for a full launch yet. We're close,
Okay,
and still got to pay bills, right? So
sure.
so I'm slinging metal. Excuse me, and it's fun. It's a challenge doing it the old school way,
Mhm.
because but it's fun, and we're learning a lot through it as we make changes, iterations more to what we're doing. But it is, I think I have the pleasure of being smaller and doing that. A lot of folks don't, but people are pretty smart. They see through, right, folks, and leaders got to be willing to get a little dirty
Mhm.
again, right? And to me, again, that goes back to that whole servant leadership that a lot of folks say the word but don't understand what it means.
Yeah.
Is you know People rally around that again. It goes back to they a lot of these younger folks too. I mean, they want to grow. Like I've got there's a young trader within Tisson who's just man, he's a rock star. He's awesome. I worked with him initially. We were slinging deals together, for the steel buy side. It was just me and him.
Mhm.
and he's hungry, right? He's just he, you know, you got to keep feeding that, and and it's can be different, right? When someone's that real hungry and right and has a lot of motivation, and there's you got to continue to think a little bit differently with different folks, getting to know your
Yeah,
people because they all react differently. But yeah, I mean, he's folks like that, and the ones I that follow me from Rebus, it's exciting. It's exciting for me to see people that are excited and hungry, and I got to keep feeding them and taking care of them, and
okay,
that because I want them to stay around, right? For sure, and that's the challenge that leaders have to. You don't want to just hire somebody and them to be gone. You're just investing a lot of money,
sure.
and for them to lose them, and so yeah, we've definitely got some. You know, Companies have to continue to reevaluate their leadership and be honest. And you know, I'm a fan of what's called 360 reviews. That you got folks below you, folks above you, are kind of providing some feedback and reviews on yourself.
Interesting.
And it's some people would be very scared to probably do that, but I welcome it.
Hmm.
Look, if I can grow, look, I'm 56 years old. I'm still learning. I'm having fun. I'm still growing. It's okay for me to not know everything. Uh, and I learn a lot from my folks who uh, below me, but obviously above me, but below me.
Yeah, that's great. That's again a testament because there's some leaders out there that wouldn't want that type of feedback from folks lower on the totem pole, right? So, um, I'm sure you know some too. So there's that. But well, that's really valuable, Chris, and I appreciate the insight there. As we kind of wrap this up, tell me where we could expect or what we could expect from Steel by, let's say, in the next 12 months.
Sure. Yeah. So it's again, it's a metals marketplace. We're focused on flat row, carbon, aluminum, stainless initially. Got a small team
Hmm.
and already got access to a lot of inventory.
Okay.
So we'll when we go to full launch, we'll hit the ground running. We've already, getting a lot of RFQs a week. We're putting orders together.
Great.
So the appetite is still there for something for an entity to help folks find what they need or get rid of what they don't. And so, but I've taken Steel by and really made it more simplistic
Okay.
to a customer or a vendor. And one of the things I've learned is, we're going to use the technology whether it's external, whether someone wants to use it, or we use it more internal.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to force somebody to use it. This industry,
Sure.
what I want to do is I want to live more in their own workflows.
Mm.
If it's within their own ERP and they see my inventory, that's awesome, right?
Yes.
And so I want to focus on, being their easy button that makes their job as simplistic as possible to find what they need when they need it or to get
Mhm.
rid of it at a good price. And so um, that's really what Steel by is. We'll within it, this the rest of this year we're gonna launch. We're going to continue to utilize folks who I've used in the past and who understand the technology, who are used to it, and to continue to grow that. And Thyssen has its own internal units that are going to be involved as well. Again, we're going to protect the data, protect the folks using the marketplace to, again, it's still going to be blind like I've done previously is, the buyer and seller will not know each other.
Mhm.
And like I said, we're using Rebus Logistics to power our logistics function.
Great.
So I can give somebody a delivered price automatically. And the technology was built already. And so why recreate something that works real well?
Sure.
So yeah, that's where we're at. We're excited. We're going to keep teams small, and then we're going to evolve. We're doing transacting other stuff, but I'm going to make sure and grow this the right way and be cognizant of my company's money, and I want to be profitable fast. And
Sure.
so fast is in next year.
Okay.
So that's a good ROI for my company with what we're doing, and
Exciting.
we're continue to evolve.
Very exciting. I wanted to harp on this before we wrap it up. You mentioned previously that you're back to even slinging a little bit of metal yourself. It's been a while. Many folks listening probably are doing the same thing. So going back to it, have you picked up on anything else? Has something changed in the market, or is it still same old, same old? Just gotta.
No, I mean, look, it's a tough market right now.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of competition outside the domestic mills.
Mhm.
So, though imports are still flowing in, though nothing like they were, right? Because just
Sure.
the costs. But yeah, it's a challenge. You know, negotiation for me is fun, and you don't win them all, and I want to win them all, but it's is what it is.
Hmm.
And but yeah, no, it's fun. It's just it's gritty work, right? It's hard work,
Yeah.
and but I'll go back to, you know, technology doesn't replace the relationship, it enhances it. And that is key, because this is a relationship business and it won't change. And that's what's fun for me. And that's why what this industry continues to want. They don't, you know, want to talk to an AI bot or somebody that never communicates with them. Good luck calling Amazon, right, and talking to a body.
Right.
So it's a challenge. It's not an issue unless you have a problem. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have problems. So I want to talk to somebody, and that's not going to go away. The technology is going to continue to evolve it and enhance it, and that's where uh, it won't replace it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good stuff. Last question, Chief, and then I'll give you the floor. What are you hiding in that vault back there? Got some
Uh,
inventory there?
yeah, no inventory. Like a lot of folks know I'm an avid hunter.
That's
I've
awesome.
got 12 grandkids. So number one, you got to keep things locked up and out of the way of the young ones. Two, we have a lot of tornadoes that come through this
Sure.
Northeast Texas region, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So it's interesting when we built our retirement house last year, so this is
Yes.
a new
Remember
house,
that.
and
Congrats.
the first room that was built, all steel and concrete, was that room that had to be built before the house, any wood went up on
Sure.
the inside of the house. So yeah, it was the first room that was built in the house, and yeah, it's the key though for these things is you got to make sure the door opens up inside, not outside, because if the whole house falls in on you, you can't open the
Could be
door.
a
So
problem.
you
Yeah.
gotta have yeah. My builder didn't forgot about that, and they actually had to replace that door because they had
Really?
it opening up outside. So
Mm.
yeah,
Someone
all
got to
good.
sell them more steel then. That's good.
Yeah. Really. Yep, that's true.
Good. Well, Chief, it's been great. You're always welcome on the show. Any last parting thoughts for our audience? Anything we didn't touch on that you want to share?
Yeah, look. I've had a pleasure of using Tyler in the past, and he brought me some good folks. He's focused on the metals industry. He's the real deal. I trust him. He's become a good friend of mine, and what he's doing, you don't get with a lot of other folks. And so, if you have any questions, feel free to ping me or holler at me. And but yeah, just appreciate what you're doing, Tyler.
Thank you. I did not put him up to that, by the way, but I appreciate it, Chief.
No, yeah,
Thank you.
he
Thank
earned it.
you.
He earned. He knows me well enough. He had to earn that. So
Yes, 100%. So thank you for that. I appreciate
you
it.
bet.
And it's always a pleasure, Chief. I wish you best of luck, you and the team and everybody over there at Steel By. And yeah, if you're up in New York or Connecticut again, or if I maybe find my way in Texas someday, we'll do another old fashioned. We'll share a drink. So
You bet. Sounds
sounds
good,
good.
brother. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Recruiter of Steel podcast. If you enjoyed our finished product, please subscribe and leave a rating. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.